Hello again. Welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they'd never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So today, my name is Mark. I actually got a game in with against Beast Herds with Omar here, and it was a 2,500 points of the Ninth Age. Again, my name is Sir MC 2015 up on the Ninth Age boards. If you want to reach out to me, or again, just around the Philadelphia area and close to Westchester, Pennsylvania. So, yes, I know I said it's actually going to be Equitaine. I'm still using my Equitaine list against beast herds. I don't have Wi-Fi, so that's why we have an orc versus a knight. It's as close as I could come with what I have saved on my computer. So we turn around, we set up terrain. Actually, Omar, didn't
It
someone?
was preset.
Yes,
It was preset.
someone preset it for us. So it looked very nice, very flowing, and we went ahead and set up our armies. And I want to apologize ahead of time for some of the far pictures as it may look. I didn't think it appears so far because it is different lighting than when we're usually from where we're usually playing. But we're going to go ahead and take a look, see how everything turns out. So we turn around for deployment. We started doing the normal old 8th edition. I place one, he placed one, I placed one, he placed one. And we ended up with classical deployment and breakthrough as our scenarios. After I saw that you had your giant,
And my character
and
left.
your characters left, I just dropped everything at that point in time so that I at least could get a roll without having any minuses. So here's how the board looks. And as you can see, it almost looks like I didn't deploy when I'm looking at the board. But off in the bottom left-hand corner, you see both my two trebuchets. There's my Cal Betsy that can decide either to work with me or against me. Then the other trebuchet is right behind it. And then I've got a unit of bowmen with the wall right in front of them. Next to them, I have my 6 Grail Knights. And behind them, I have my unit of Knights of Forlorn with my character. Now, that character there, he's a normal paladin. He's got a 2-up armor. He's got the Beastbane Halberd, so he's multi-wound 2 against anything that's got monster to his name. And he gives the whole unit a 5-up board save. So, with the other character that's in that unit, actually, it's a very beefy unit. And the reason why I turtled like that is, hey, look, I'm playing Beast Herds. How many units did you have flanking me?
2 units that ambushed, right? And then the scouts were near you. So yeah.
Yeah, so, and this is after Vanguards and Scouts and everything else is the picture that you're currently looking at. So that's what I turned around. I did there. I put my mounted yeoman kind of in the middle. I had my peasants out there in the middle. Then I have my naked 8-man unit of Knights of the Realm. And beyond that, I actually changed one of my unit of archers to skirmishers. And there's a 10-man unit over there. And then I've got my general and his 9-man unit at 2,500. Thank you so much. 2,500 points over there with the BSB. And I put my Heavens Mage. So I had two mages. One's a level 4. That uses Lore of Nature. The other one is Heavens. I dropped my Dispel Scroll because I've been trying the last couple games with using the Dispel Scroll, so I only had 3 3 spells with my Heavens Mage, and it didn't work nearly as well. I like having the Dispel Scroll for the protection, but it was still a little too much, or not enough, I should say. I didn't have the options of the spells. Let's see. I don't think I had anything else floating down there. And both my 2 mounted paladins have 1-up armor saves. And the Duke is has the Grail. So he's got a 5-up board save. And I took him a little differently because usually I use a Blunder Lord. I took the Virtue of Valor, the Divine Icon. I forgot, Crusader's Helm, so he gets to reroll his 1-up armor save. And I gave him the Kingslayer's Sword, but he also has the Lance, because Equitaine has that special rule that you can charge in using your Lance and then switch to a sword thereafter, or another item thereafter, even if it's magical. And my Paladin, he's kitted out pretty much the same way, except I dropped the War Banner and gave him the Blessed Scriptures, because I got tired of dying from the multi-wound 2s against characters. And the Damsel's the same, and my level 4 is the same. Everything else in this army is the same from previous battle reports. So Omar, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your list, like what we see on the board, and then what you still have coming in ambush.
Okay, on the board, I'll start with characters. I have a Beast Lord, and basically he's there to give my army the Dark Rain, so protect them against range attacks a bit while they move up the board. Also, he has the item that lets nearby chariots vanguard, so they can get a bit more speed off the get-go and get situated better for hopefully early charges. This list was made so that I can get in combat quickly. So the Beast Lord really didn't have anything magical. Only had a Beast Axe, 3-up armor save. Beast Axe I think is a very good investment because it gives you +1 strength. It gives you +1 armor. So it's definitely pretty good. I also included a BSB, but that BSB I gave him ambush so that he can just give rerolls to the units that pop up on the other end. So both sides have some sort of support as far as leadership roles go, even though they're split up. And the idea was to bring them together eventually. So the Beast Lord is sitting on the 40-man unit of Longhorns, and they have a banner of basically the one that lets you cast or dispel as if you were a wizard. So they get master wizard, so they get a +2 to the dispel, which is what I went for because I have no other wizards otherwise. They had halberds because I wanted them to strike at initiative. And their champion has the gnarl hide totem, so that they can get that distracting and an extra armor. Hopefully, conserve some of those more expensive wounds. You'll see that that unit was flanked by the chariot units, 1 of 3, 1 of 2, because I wanted them to be in range of the item that let them vanguard. Plus, they were going to be mostly the hammer for the anvil type thing, and then the floater one would support any ambushing units that were closest to it, which ended up being the unit of 2. Then further down, you'll see the Centaurs, or Centaurs now, and they were originally supposed to have ambush, and I forgot to give it to them. So this list is a little different than the one I intended to play, but I'm glad I caught it because I definitely would have felt bad if I ended up cheating by mistake. So they ended up flanking the far ends of my starting setup, just so that I could have the versatility to have one in the fight, whether he deployed his main force on one side or the other. Because I had deployed him at the point where I didn't know where his main force was going to stage, so I wanted to cover both ends. I figured that the furthest one could still make it into the fight with the movement of 8. So, what else? I had my giant down there, and he was sober, so he got the vanguard. And that was it for the ones that were deployed. After deployment, I scouted in my 2 units of gargoyles, both of 10-man units. They pretty much went towards the side that had the hill, with the idea of chaffing anything trying to protect, especially the knights trying to protect the hill from getting overrun, and if possible, try and charge with the harpies, the war machine thing, keep him out of the shooting phase. As far as my ambushing units, I had 2 25-man wargors. I forget what they're calling now, and they both had champions with the Bloodhorn totem that basically gives them an extra attack and armor piercing 2.
I think they're wild horns.
Wild horns, correct, and they were kitted out with pair weapons, so when the spell went off, they all had 3 attacks essentially, which I wanted them to be very offensive. So I didn't really, since they're ambushing, I really didn't care much about protecting them while they got to the other side of the table. It's really the only reason I would give him anything like that. Um, and so, as you saw, my vanguards were heavily concentrated on heading towards the hill because at that point I was planning to ambush there, and kind of in hindsight left my general's unit kind of stranded towards the end, even though I had hopes that I can charge my way into position. But that's it as far as deployment and initial movement.
Okay. So now we turn around and roll for turn one. See the big black dice there, and I ended up winning the dice roll. Now, when I turned around and I looked at his army, I'm like, okay, it's not horrible. I know I'm getting flanked, and again, I knew about those ambushers, which is my biggest concern. My spells, which was Master of Earth, Flesh to Stone. I'm trying to think as to what else I had with my level 4. Summer Regrowth, and
Plus 2 toughness?
no, that's Flesh to Stone. What was my? I don't think I ever cast it.
Oh, the regeneration one.
Oh, the regen. Yeah, the base spell, because I had a spell which was the Forest Master's, the Spirit of the Wood, but everything in his armies was the Strider Forest. So it's like does me no good. So I'm like, all right, let me turn around, and I took the regen, which I never bothered with. And I moved everything up. So this is actually a picture I want to say at the end of turn one after my movement, and that's it. Because again, my threat range is much further than his. I positioned my fast cavalry on the other side of the peasants, and this is the way I remember playing my old Bretonians from back in the day, and definitely had that same style feel. I wasn't worried. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's turn around. So now we get to magic. So I get stars aligned, and I do the to hit on my peasants, on my archers there, and then I turn around and I get Master of Earth that goes off. If I remember right, you did try to stop that.
I did.
And I did 9 wounds, which obliterated that unit.
Yep.
Or I did
left
all but
3
3.
left.
Yeah, left
Those
3 there.
those 3 did their job later on.
So I turn around, and then I get Blizzard on them. I wanted that 1 reroll, which I forgot about. But it also gave them a -1 leadership, because if one thing that Omar kept doing throughout the game is doing the swift reforms, and which is great to do, but with the -1 leadership, I'm like, it's worth a shot. However, in order to get that spell to go off, I miscast, and I do a wound to my mage and kill 3 of my own knights. It's going through my head at this point. It's like, it's not the end of the world. I'll be able to turn around, use regrowth, and be back to full potential. Trebuchet! Alright, so Mad Cow Disease strikes again. My first Trebuchet hit drifted onto the second half of his unit, killing, I think, 8 or 9 of them there. And then the second Trebuchet did a direct hit, killing, I think we killed a total of 17.
Total of 16.
I killed a total of 16 miles from the 2 Trebuchet shots. So, and to which case I'm like, all right, that blizzard, I didn't think it would actually come in handy, but there it is. He passes leadership test, no worries there. So, Beast Herds, turn 1. He turns around, he charges my peasants with your chariots.
Yep.
And I chose to flee, so they bounce through. The other peasants are fine, and that's it. I think you tried to redirect and failed to redirect with them. So this is how this now looks here. Is we have his chariots moved up. He did decide to do a conga line. All right, so I'll tell you what, this is your turn. Why don't you go ahead and tell him what you did?
Well, it didn't work because he got way too many kills right off the bat. But I was hoping that having a smaller footprint would leave most of my models in the woods, making the skirmishers steadfast. Oh, I should explain that I moved my harpies into a conga line right in front of his. What kind of knights are these?
Grail.
The Grail Knights. so that they couldn't charge either to my giant or my ambushing unit of wargors or wild horns. And effectively, I prevented that. But they only lasted one turn. I was hoping to get at least 2 turns out of it. They still did a pretty good job of what I wanted to do. So he had to preoccupy himself with that unit, the Congalan unit. And my ambushes arrived. They got to reform so that they could face the hill. We see that at the bottom of the picture, we have a unit that's just full command with a totem of Bloodhorn, which gives them an extra attack and armor piercing too, and they're just facing the bowman down there, and his lone wizard, which I was licking my chops over. But no worries, he moved that into a unit later.
Yep.
And then on the left side, above the hill, you'll see my second unit of wargors or wild horns. I keep forgetting. And they came in and reformed so they could face those knights on foot. And that unit included the BSB, which had the totem option, gives them all 4 totems. Plus, the unit had a totem, a champion who could cast the totem of Bloodhorn as well. So I had I feel like a pretty significant force already in close combat range.
I definitely think you did. You
Yeah.
feel like this, and that was part of the reason why, another big reason why I turtled and didn't move up my ground knights and everything else. And looking at it, I could have simply denied the flank even further up by just moving my ground knights up against the side there. But having your lord, having them come on to turn 1, really just set me in a defensive position. And I've got a lot of points in that corner. I mean, the 2 trebuchets, that's 260 points right there. The archers, whoop-de-doo, they're 60 points. That mage is 305 points, so that's already 565 points. The paladin that's in that unit of the Forlorn is another 140 points. Then you've got the Forlorn themselves, that's 256 points. So that's like a bulk of my army right there trying to defend the trebuchets, because to me, I live and die by shooting and magic. I need both working for me in order to win the game, or at least one to have a chance. And as I said, the Congo line, I didn't even consider him doing that. That caught me by surprise. I thought it was a great move, and he's doing it. I'm like, all right, crap. How do I do this? How do I figure this out? Oh wait, I'll charge him with the archers. No, that's really going to suck, because then he'll just charge in with everything else. That's just not going to work for me. So, as I said, that I thought that was a brilliant move. We'll get into the rest of the game. So, and the totems. Oh, he just kept. He rolls 1 die. It's going to go off no matter what. If you're a Beast Herds player, you're going to get stuff off.
I had a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 totems I could cast.
And I do. Actually, I'm going to take a quick moment and say I apologize for noise. It's kind of gaming and dinner. So we're over at the local pizza joint game store just to turn around as we're doing this. So I do apologize for the noise. All right, let's go to the next slide. So nothing really happened. I think I actually shut down all your totems that turn.
Yes.
The ones I didn't weren't worthwhile.
Right.
Like I didn't plan on doing anything. So Equitaine, turn 2. Here's the end of the movement phase. So, you've heard me say it before if you've watched any of my other videos, angry peasants. My peasants were so angry this game. And I need to do another battle report with Ryan again, where I had him play Orcs and Goblins. My peasants in that game actually may have been the MVP. Here, they were doing such a phenomenal job. So, the peasants turn around, charge those 2 chariots there in the middle. My mounted yeoman turned around and chaffed up his big beast herd that he turned around and reformed, so it actually had ranks after taking that brutal attack. And he ended up rallying those other guys that fled from getting hit with that magic spell, because they did flee. I think we forgot to mention that before. And I chaffed up his giant and his other herd there. I put the mage back into the unit that she left the first time around, because she's got the Scepter of Dominion, and I want her to be able to help them hold that combat just in case they do lose. And that's it. That's how the turn looks. I don't think I had any other charges. The Grail Knights. So the Grail Knights did charge into his Conga line as well. That's it. So magic, Master of Earth goes off on that unit facing my own block, and I only did 2 wounds. Bad luck.
Yeah, it was a trade off. I had like half of the dice that you had. You had 6 to cast, and I had 3
Yeah.
to dispel. And at that point, I was thinking, because I was thinking that you were going to buff your unit in the combat phase. So I was willing to let this one go off and lose as many wounds as possible, rather than have your unit be buffed and cause more wounds in the combat phase, where the wounds actually will count towards my combat rest.
And in retrospect, that's probably what I should have done. But, live and learn. Archers loose. I actually the archers there did a wound to the giants. I was impressed because they're peasants. And yeah, so that was it for magic. Now we're back into shooting. Those archers did another wound onto that unit there. And I think both my trebuchets missed that turn. They both
they did.
They both
Way
went
off.
in the wrong direction. That's why you don't hear me screaming at Betsy or Trebuchet this right now. So right now we turn around, we charge we're in close combat. So I charged into the flank there. I did 3 wounds, and their toughness 4. So I needed 5 to wound them. And I was amazed. No spells, no buffs. Got lucky, and he failed his armor saves. Your dice were working against you.
Well, it happens.
But I had the flank and everything else. I had ranks, so I was pretty happy with that. So he turns around, he breaks, he rolls. He's like, "Yep, you caught him." And just I didn't even see what he rolled yet. I'm like, "Okay, let me roll." Oh, I rolled a 9. So it was just bad luck right there.
I rolled like a 3 or something like that.
Yeah. But at the same time, again, those mighty angry peasants. Over here, I did. Yeah, the Congo line just broke. He ends up. How many men were in that unit? How many?
It
Models?
was 10.
10 models. From the 6 Grail Knights being 13 attacks, no buffs, anything like that. I killed 7 of them, and I only had 2 models able to participate. So I was already missing 6 attacks. I was pretty happy. I just did a reform because I'm like, all right, the giant. If I face this way, the giant is actually, even though it may not look it, we looked it up. We did a laser and everything. The giant's still in my front, so the giant's not going to be able to get in there to charge my front. He's got to go after the bowmen in front of him, and then he's got that unit there. Well, that unit there is in the flank, so he's going to have to turn around, charge them in the flank. All right,
I would have been able to stay on the board.
In which case, you would have been killing them outright, and then center through center. Giant goes forward. They may have been able to turn around and reach the Grail Knights, but it was iffy at that point, and he didn't have a counter charge set up at this point. So over here, now it's Beastman turns 2, and Omar, tell him what happened here.
All right, so as you saw from the previous picture, I kind of shrunk my 40-man unit just to get some more ranks, since the horde benefit really didn't come into play anymore. Wasn't worth keeping. You can tell that it's on the center to the right up there, and it's pretty much surrounded from the rest of the battle and kind of surrounded by some skirmishings and light troops and 2 units of knights that are getting close. I'm trying to move in my centaurs that are up on the right into position to at least support as a counter charge eventually, and then hopefully trying to rally the chariots that fled that are behind the unit and have them support that unit. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, this unit still got some meat to it, and I have 2 supporting units close by that I can maybe do something with them, because really the 2 knight units still are a waste, and they're being blocked by their own units. and the other 2 units are light units, so I'm feeling confident that I can take them on at that point. We see at the bottom left where the whole ambushing is taking place that I've been kind of shafted with my unit of the
Roman.
no, this one, the Wargors.
Wild horns.
Wild Horns, thank you. It's kind of shaft on the bottom, on the very bottom, because of his peasant bowman move forward. And so I decided that I'm gonna definitely charge in with my giant and give him a run for their money. I'm pretty confident that I can break them. It's a shame about the knights. That was a really good move and prevented me from charging them because I definitely wanted to at least stop them in their track and slow them down for a bit. And definitely charging the unit of the food knights that are now harboring the level 4 wizard. So I got those 2 charges going on, and no charges. Well, I
Let me
do.
go to the next slide. I think it's just the charges.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Here we go. So actually, this is a much better picture.
Mhm.
And there's that charge with the giant going in. He chose not to charge there.
Yeah. Failed charge.
Yeah, they failed. I fled.
Yep. So the center with my main unit and my general, I failed charge, but I felt okay because I had that unit of skirmishers blocking the charge from the unit that's down, the main unit where his general was on the bottom, and there was another unit of knights up ahead. But I was thinking if I could get them, just one of them at a time, I'll be able to deal with them. I reform on the bottom left. I did a swift reform and changed directions with my centaurs, and then moved my normal 8-inch movement to position myself in such a way that I can hopefully countercharge that big unit of knights with its general on it. And I rallied my unit with 3 chariots in it that's in the woods, so that I can hopefully do something with them coming on next turn. That's it for that.
Well, I'm looking at this slide. I'm like, I swear we're not promoting X-Wing, and that's actually a big box, not next to the table, but it looks like it's right there. Okay, so next slide. So right now we get into close combat. Turn around, he did 5 wounds. I failed. I have 5 up ward saves. I failed every single one of my ward saves. Okay, I did 6 wounds. Okay, I think what got me was, and I was stubborn because I popped the Scepter of Dominion, so I think you won combat by 1. Because 5 wounds, I did 6, so that takes away your charge. Both have banners, but his BSB is in that unit. And it was a pillow fight between his character and my character. I think I wounded him twice, and he turned around and made all the saves.
Rerollable.
Yep, and then I turned around and either he failed to wound me or I made my saves with him. And so I lost by 1. I used my scepter because I don't want them going anywhere. I fail.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
11. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. I'm like, oh, my BSB is all the way on the other side of the board. Oh well. Hopefully they get away. No, they're caught. They're caught dead. And I just pick up that unit. So again, that unit was 256 plus the 1 character. It was basically 700 points in that unit that just picked up and disappeared. I'm going to have to rework that a little bit. Over here is Giant turns around, does 4 wounds, and I did nothing back to him. I am actually allowed to test because my knights are right there. So it's -5. I rolled a 4. So they break, and they're caught, and then they're caught. So now it's Equitaine turn 3. So as you can see, the giant moved closer. His wild horns with the BSB actually overran into one of the trebuchets. His other wild horn is just there. And let's see. So the way he thought I was chaffed up, and I was looking at how to turn around and get away from that chaffs. I actually turn around and charge with my peasant bowman into one of either, I can't remember I think it was the chariots. I think I charged towards the chariots. Mm-hmm. And then I declare the charge from my general into the flank. And he goes, you need to roll a 7, or it was less than 7. I think you need to roll a 6 in order to make that charge. I'm only getting 2d6, and you get the additional plus d3, and then you're just going to charge me with that other unit anyway. No. All right, I'll hold. So they go into the flank. The other lance goes into the front. The peasants go into those 3 remaining furies, or what are they called now? Harpies?
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. It's called gargoyles. We're using the old harpies. Old harpies, like 3rd edition. The Grails go into whatever unit. Oh, he had moved up his centaurs. So I charged in with. So I charged the centaurs with the ground knights, and that's it. I just had basically abandoned that one lone war machine, rightfully so. I rallied my mounted yeomen, and they moved, and that's how the end of movement looks at the end of turn 3. So I'm missing my big heavy-duty mage. I think I'm all right. I'm not horrible with this. So I turn around, and I get Blizzard to go off. Okay, so he's at a -1. You tried to stop that too, and I think you missed. So he's at a -1 to hit, -1 leadership, and then I go to cast the reroll to hit spell, and you stop that. Then I was able to get off the curse of the Westerlies or whatever that is. Actually, no, I failed to get that other spell off. And I rolled a miscast, if I remember correctly, on that one as well. And he's like, "Okay, go for it." But I think I did a wound to my mage that turn.
I don't remember.
Yeah, nothing significant because I have no pictures. So that trebuchet is still turn around, trying to get some shots off before it dies. Go crew! Way to stay there to the bitter end. I was able to kill 3 of those wild horns there. So here are those centaurs. Why do I have a random picture of those centaurs? There must be a reason for it. We'll figure it out later. So there's the peasants. He kills one of my peasants. They killed another 3 gargoyles. So far they've killed 3 gargoyles, 2 chariots. I'm like, they're peasants. They're there to die. They're not dying. I was making reference to that. They're not dying.
Yeah.
So close combat again. So after it's all said and done, it's not even showing the unit champion here. On my lord, I took Valor rather than, so he's not the blender. He's more close combat oriented to help him stay with it, help a little bit differently. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wounds. Plus I did 4 in the challenge. So that would have been 15 wounds to nothing. To absolutely nothing. And he tried to do his primal test. You failed your primal test, so he didn't get to reroll his misses. Again, and I think you failed because of Blizzard, because I think you rolled a 9. And yep. And so again, that spell actually paid off. I was so shocked by it. So he's going to auto break there. I restrain with my 1 bus of 9 with my general and my BSB, and the other bus pursues. And now it's turn 3 to beast turns. So just real quick. I don't know why we didn't do this. I took this picture out of order. I did the other picture that I did this. Sorry about that. So yeah, that wasn't even a contest. I did nothing. So here we are. After his movement, he actually does charge the second trebuchet this turn. Again, that last picture was just out of order. So the overrun. If someone knows better than I do, please let me know. I caught him at the line of scrimmage. So basically where he was. And I just measured center through center, and my overrun put me right into his chariots. So I didn't turn in the direction he was facing because he died right then and there and removed from the table. And then I just run center through center. I rolled boxcars, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was not expecting to hit those chariots. I was expecting to turn around and take a hit with them. And then that was it. I reformed. I had to reform in such a way because I had the peasants in my way, which Omar gladly got rid of my peasants for me. So I'll let you go ahead and take it from here. All right, go ahead.
So I try to give some purpose to my Centigores that were down on the bottom left, and charge them into his big unit of 9 um, riders, where his general was residing in. So I charged them there to the rear. And I think, was there something here? I guess it's my now dead unit was
No,
there.
you charged in
The rear, but they were by themselves, right?
No, that's my frontage. 'Cause
Oh,
remember,
because you turned
I
around.
reformed, and
That's what it was.
my peasants were standing there in front, and you charged them first. They fled, popping through the unit, and I don't care about my peasants.
Right.
And then
That's
you
what it was.
redirected it into my general and
Nice.
his unit.
Got it.
Meanwhile, in the very far side, I forgot to mention. I guess I didn't take a picture of that combat. My Grail Knights decimated his centaurs on that
Mhm.
side. I think I killed him to a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't even get
Yeah, they're dead back there.
Yep. And then, of course, there's him just moving that into that, declaring that charge there, and moving that in. And that's it. We're running out of models. Did they rally, right?
Yeah, the 3-man unit of gargoyles rallied, so I figure I let them bother your peasants there for a little while, just chaff them up. They were that big of a threat, I guess.
Well, his gargoyles weren't able to get away at this point because they literally just rallied.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like, great, they're in my way. Oh well. And I think that's it. So let's.
Yeah.
So again, those totems. I don't have a lot of pictures of his totems, and for him casting, because it was like, okay, I want to cast this totem. I want to cast this totem again. I want to cast this totem again. I'm like, oh my god, just. And you were rolling well with your magic dice too. He would have 8 dice, 7 dice, 10 dice.
11 was the biggest one.
Yeah, 11 was the biggest. And I'm going, I've got 6. I'll wait for it. I'll stop what I want or what I'm able to do. Because the way, and this is what I learned, is that if you have your beast herds close enough, and the way you have your characters, and they're able to cast 4 totems a turn, it's brutal. And the fact
Only
that-
one of the characters had totems, but it's just the one was brutal enough.
Yeah, it's just brutal. You're going to get whatever you want wherever you need it. So, this is. Did you charge me?
No, that's when you
That's when I
overran and to the woods where my chariots were.
Yep. And so this is. We're already into close combat. There were originally 3 chariots in this combat.
Yep.
I did 7 wounds in that combat, and I think you did 2.
Yep.
So, and after that, it was just like they're going to auto break, and I still have a rank. And this is one difference that I learned recently. You still get your ranks in the forest. You just don't gain steadfast in the forest, because that's what it says under forest. Again,
Unless you're Strider.
Unless you're Strider. So if someone knows better than I do, please go ahead and post that. Because the way it used to be is you just wouldn't get ranks if you were in the forest. Therefore, you get no steadfast. But regardless, I still have my banner, the charge. He's breaking no matter what. And I choose not to pursue. I just do a reform there because he was less than 7 from the board edge. I'm like, you know what? You're going to run, and if you do rally, I'll deal with you at that point in time. So now it's Equitaine turn 4. We skipped the centaurs. You know what? Let me go back. So, yeah, I guess I don't have that picture. All right, interesting. So he charged into my general's unit with his centaurs. I turn around and I got 2 of those Lord of Heaven spells off. So I issue my challenge because I have to. He has to accept with his unit champion. Again, I do 4 wounds. And then my BSB, he does 4 wounds. So out of 8, I've already killed 5 of those models, leaving 3 left. Because they were 8-man units.
Yes, there was 8.
Yeah, and my archers took 1 out earlier in the game, so that's why he only ends up with 2. Being his musician and standard, he fails to wound again. I make all my saves, and the rest of the knights just clean up.
Yep. And you held. You
Yep.
didn't pursue.
Yep, chose not to pursue. So they run away. So I had my yeoman all the way over there, and that's because they actually charged his models because they were only roughly 6.5 inches away. And you rolled well. It ended up being a total of 15 distance. I rolled equally as well because I ended up rolling 17 distance, so I caught them at that 15-inch mark. Did my leadership check on their own leadership and actually was able to reform. Let's see. So I'm hibernating in the woods with the one unit because, again, we're doing breakthrough. I've got the one unit. I've got to try to turn around and take out the rest. I charged my Grail Knights into his one unit of Wild Horns there, and he's got that other unit of Wild Horns. So, again, there's still a chance because he still does have points left on the board, and he doesn't realize how many I've lost 1,000 points just when he took that corner. But I've got the I'm moving my general with that nasty unit that way. The Grail Knights are in, and that's it. That was my movement. So there's that picture showing that I caught the last remaining 2 of the Centaurs. So I get stars align on my Grail Knights. He actually does try to stop it. I think you failed trying to stop it. Again, reroll. I chose to reroll my hits, and close combat. They killed those final 3 gargoyles. Again, I lost a peasant. I've lost a total of 3 peasants this game. Those are angry peasants. The Grail Knights. The Grail Knights, because even with the help of that spell, exploded, killing 12.
Yeah, they killed enough that I lost my steadfast.
I think you had a unit of 20, 22.
25.
Well, no, and I did 3
Oh,
for the
you did,
trebuchet.
yeah.
So that's why there were 22. I did a total of 12 wounds. That unit has 13 attacks from the knights and 3 attacks from the horses. So it was very, very lucky on my part. I mean, I got exactly what I needed. So they lost steadfast, so they're automatically breaking.
And I didn't get rerolls either. I didn't pass my my test for what's it called? Primal.
Yeah, he failed another
instinct,
primal. And where's that slide? All right, I guess, at this point, sorry about that. At this point, we turn around and we call a game because he's like, I have a giant and I have one hers left. Those Grail Knights ran off the board. So 20-0 victory for Equitaine. My MVP, I'm trying to. I really can't say because that one lucky shot with the trebuchet in the beginning, I think really set the tone for the rest of the center of the board. So I may have to say it was my trebuchet that gets MVP because without that huge shot right there in the middle, it may have been a completely different game. So the 2 trebuchets, even though they've gone at this point, that's what I'm going to give it to. If you were to pick an MVP for your army, what would it be?
I think I would pick I guess the role that my core did, the ambushing core did as MVP. I know it's more than just one unit, but I saw the effectiveness of it. Actually, the one that you've seen right now kind of got shafted. If they were free to attack, I think I would have a bigger impact on the game. But definitely the core that ambushed that was accompanied by the BSB was pretty powerful with the totems. I mean, those 2 units were a total of like 500 points that went up against, we said 700 something. Yeah. And they did pretty well. Here, they just got unlucky in the end because I was hoping they could keep the steadfast so that I can flank them with my other unit of war horns and maybe get the giant in there as well and even out the odds or kind of like deny him at least those points, get rid of those, and then face his other 2 units. But it just didn't go my way. So, but I was very pleased how they performed and the role they filled. I think it was a good investment in points.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, it was one-sided, but I think we both had fun with this game.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely learned a lot. And thank you so much for listening. Again, feel free to post your comments, questions. And again, thank you for listening to us ramble about a game that we enjoy playing. Bye.